Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. I'm your host, Jerron Harrington, back to hit you with another video. And it's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's another review of Chainsaw Man, with today's review being episode 10, titled Bruised and Battered. As always, if you're new to the channel or if you're a regular and you like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that is to come out now and in the future. Now, two things I want to address. Yes, I am on vacation and there will be pre-recorded videos, but if there's one video I am going to be continuing while I'm on vacation, that is the Chainsaw Man reviews, because, you know, there's no way for me to review an anime that comes out weekly ahead of time, so these are the only new videos I'm doing for the rest of the year. But you're also going to be asking, why is this video coming out super late? That's because I have had a very long day, and not even going to get into it. It took a while for me to get this video out, but I wasn't going to leave you hanging. Although, when we finish season 1, I am going to be doing a poll to see if you guys want me to continue doing these sort of anime reviews, because I know that not a lot of people watch the Chainsaw Man anime reviews. I probably get no more than 70 views a video, which, again, not really what I would hope, but I don't really mind because this was something new that I wanted to try. Just wanted to branch out and do other things. You know, whether or not I continue reviewing animes, it's up to you guys. I want to try to add visuals, but you know, gotta try to avoid those copyrights, but that's just something we'll see going forward. But anyway, today's review, because it is super late, I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible, but try to go over some details that I thought were interesting enough. So, in episode 10, we have the fallout of the attack on the 4 special divisions in Tokyo. And as we saw from the aftermath, all of the surviving members of Divisions 1 through 4 are grouped together under Special Division 4, headed by Makima. But Makima, deducing that the enemy is after Denji from all the events that have happened so far in the story, decides that if she's going to run the division, then she needs to get her soldiers, as you would put it, into high gear and get them better training. Also, we do see Aki's reaction to the fallout of Himeno's death, and I really did like the animation and the touch to detail when it came to showing his overall emotion and feeling to the loss of a comrade and a partner that he held very close to him. Just showing that this series, I would say, unlike most, deals with a lot of loss, and I think loss was the key theme of this episode, mainly for Denji, because we see how Denji reacts to the situation and everything that's happening around him. Multiple people have died, but yet he still doesn't feel any outwardly emotion. He even addresses this in the episode when he asks himself how he would feel if Aki died, or how he would feel if Power died, or how he would feel if Makima died. And as a manga reader, if that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is. And it already got me tearing up, because if you know what's coming, you know what's coming. A lot of people, when you want to do a comparison to this show, it's a lot like Jujutsu Kaisen. And the reason why I say that is because people die. Like, these are the type of series where no one is safe at all. Like, no character that you might come to know and love is safe, except for Kobeni. Kobeni might be safe. Like, if there was one character I could not see dying anytime soon, it would probably be her. And I think that's probably just for the joke of the story in and of itself. But outside of Kobeni, yeah, everyone else can bite the dust at some point or another. But anyway, following this, we have Makima taking both Denji and Power to meet the person that they're going to be training with, and that is the number 1 devil hunter, that is Kishibe, or as he would like to be called, Teacher. So we get the introduction of Kishibe to Denji and Power, and he basically asked them 3 important questions. He asked them, if they want revenge, how they feel about their teammates dying, and their overall goals and objectives. And as you would expect, Denji and Power give their brutally honest answers, and Kishibe likes that. And again, this is the same guy that trained Himeno, and if you know Himeno, she comments that the best type of devil hunters are the ones that are unhinged, the ones that are a bit deranged and have a couple of screws loose up in their head, because in order to do this type of job, you can't go in being the typical protagonist or type of MC that it's all about avenging your loved ones or trying to do the right things for justice, things of that nature. Like, that sort of stuff is the type of sentiment that gets you killed. And also, speaking of which, we also have Aki, who's undergoing his own sort of training. He has lost his contract with the Fox Devil because the Fox Devil didn't appreciate being put in the situation that it was put in. So because of that, Aki has to find another powerful devil to form a contract with. Also, we learn more about the cursed sword that Aki uses in battle, and apparently, well, not apparently for me, but as it's made known to the audience, every time he uses the sword, it cuts down his lifespan. And he asks the sword how much time he has left, and he is told he has 2 years left to live, as long as he doesn't use the sword. So you can only imagine how many times he's had to use it up until now, just to try to get anywhere close to gaining victory. Which you would have to imagine that using the sword was going to be his ace in the hole against the Gun Devil if he had come across it anytime sooner. But we do learn that Aki is going to have to form a new contract with a devil, and that is the Future Devil, which we'll learn more about in the next episode next week. But anyway, main focus of this episode was Denji and Power training and trying to become better fighters. Now, I would say in terms of a training arc, this isn't anything too out of there, mainly because of the fact that when they're training, you do see, for all of the strengths that they also have weaknesses. For one, even though they have a great amount of regeneration, they still technically die whenever something happens to them, and the blood that they drink has to be used to revitalize them, as Kishibe demonstrates by breaking both of their necks. And then he proceeds to kill them in a multitude of different fashions on the first day, with Power counting Denji being killed up to 20 times. And we do see that they are trying to basically be smarter fighters, because even though they have these powers, the problem is that every time they use their powers, they get blood loss, and that blood loss, it has to be replaced in some form or fashion. So because of that, it's not like they can just spam their powers as much as they want. And I do like that part of the power system. It's that even though they are powerful in their own right, both Denji and Power, if they overuse their power to a certain degree, and I'm using the word powers a lot, but I'll just say their abilities, if they overuse their abilities too much, it can result in more damage being done to them than anything else. As we've seen, when Denji is low on blood, his chainsaws come out a lot slower, or they come out a lot smaller, and they're just not that effective. That's why you see when Denji fights, he's fighting using his trusty axe, mainly because he doesn't want to waste his power of using the chainsaws unless he absolutely has to. And typically Power will make him an axe or a hammer out of her own blood, because she can manipulate blood, being the blood devil fiend herself. But anyway, this is how the two of them begin their own training to become smarter and better fighters, to become more cunning. And we see Kishibe, he's just enjoying messing with them, because this guy is psychotic and deranged as well. He talks about how when he was a young child, he didn't like having toys that break, and he basically views Denji and Power as toys that never break. So he's free to mess them up as much as he wants, and this is their form of training. But if there's one thing I did really enjoy about this episode more than anything else, is that I really like the dynamic that is being displayed between Power and Denji. I know some people view them as like a brother-sister dynamic. Some people ship them, some people don't. But for me, I just like seeing how the two of them play off of one another, especially when they try to come up with a strategy and they try to be super smart. They get the glasses out and everything, and they come up with a plan to try to ambush Kishibe, and it goes about as well as you might think. But in the end, he's still able to outsmart them pretty much because he saw where they were coming from, and he exposed a lot of the flaws in their plan. So we see as their training is continuing, Kishibe is going to make their life living hell, and the reason being is that he is going to keep hunting them, as he calls it, until they're able to beat him or fend him off. So he's pretty much just going to drink booze, go around, mess with women, do what he does, and he's going to come back and just keep kicking their asses until they do something about it. And personally, it's not your typical training arc, but still it's one that's going to be effective, because we do see as the story progresses later on down the line that it does make Denji a better fighter. And I do think this is another comparison that you could make to Issei from High School DxD, because when you look at how Issei Hyodo was in the series, comparing him from Season 1 to Season 4, and this is something that I always think about when I think about a character like Issei. When you think about him in Season 1, he was not a good fighter at all. He had no skills, no combat ability, nothing. But in Season 4, you see him actually being able to use his power effectively, and he's able to fight in hand-to-hand combat, and he's able to hold his own decently. So you are able to see the progressive growth of a character like Issei throughout the seasons of High School DxD, and I feel like with Denji, it's going to be in a similar way. It's not going to be one of those things where he just becomes a expert fighter, expert strategist, but it's more along the lines of him being a unorthodox sort of fighter who can pick up what he learns on the fly and incorporate his street smarts with what he's gaining from the knowledge that he learns from other people around him. And you see that when he puts it all together, he can be pretty smart, even though he technically doesn't even have a middle school education. I believe he only went to elementary school before he had to drop out to basically just have a life that's pure hell. But anyway, that pretty much does the review for episode 10. More so of a fallout from what happened in episode 9 in the build up to the climax as we go into the final part of season 1. Again, season 1 is supposed to be about 12 to 13 episodes, and this is episode 10. So 11, 12, 13, that means we should have about 3 more episodes before we come to the end of season 1. So far, the animation quality still continues to be up to snuff. The action sequences have definitely been enjoying them. I will say they have been playing with the lighting a bit more. They've been using a lot more of lighter shades in the last few episodes compared to the light, darker hues that they were using in the original. Can I say that that's for better or for worse? That's personally in the eyes of the beholder. I really don't mind either way. Maybe they'll probably fix it in post for later on when they re-release these episodes. But for now, I don't think it's anything to complain about. The voice acting quality has been good. Animation has definitely been good. This is definitely going to be a contender for Anime of the Year. Definitely for Shonen of the Year at least. But still, we have a few more episodes before we wrap up Season 1. And I'm definitely enjoying what we've been seeing so far. This anime, I believe personally, has definitely lived up to the hype of everything that's been promised, and I can't wait to see what's next. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's review. Stay tuned next week as we do our review for episode 11. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.